It's a lovely sunny day here in Toronto. Let us know in the chat where you're joining from, just as we wait for people to jump on.
I think we had a particularly nice weather in Europe here. Depends on where exactly you live. Vera is
hard to
struggling
with Pierre on this one.
Andrew too, right?
I'm on a second computer because the first one overheated.
And luckily I'm now in Belgium, so it's getting a lot better and more palatable. Or is it on the United States?
Oh, let's say it was a high of 95. I don't know what you Celsius people think, but it was hot for me yesterday.
It sounds hot. It's a big number.
It sounds hot. Like 95 is like boiling or something. How about you in Georgia, Emily?
Yeah, same. It's 86 right now, high of 95 today. So it'll probably get worse. It's a little cloudy now, so it's nice.
That sounded like a proper weather report.
Yeah,
and now
that's the weather intro done. Yeah, cool. Okay, I think we can kick things off with the regular updates now. No more weather updates from us, more hospitable updates now. So as always, I'll just start with a couple of housekeeping notes. So we are live streaming, we are recording. So just an FYI, if you don't want to be on the recording speaking, you can ask your questions in the Q&A. The functionality is at the bottom of your screen. Please try to use the Q&A rather than the chat to ask questions. It's a lot easier for us to catch your questions and answer them in an orderly fashion. We will start today's session with some company updates from Pierre, and then we'll move over to some product updates from the product team, and then we'll throw it open to audience Q&A. When we get to the audience Q&A, you can use the reaction button at the bottom of your screen to raise your hand. If you click reactions, there's a separate raise hand button in there. We'll get to everyone as quickly as possible. And I think that's it. So I'm going to now hand over to Pierre to kick things off.
My pleasure. And since I don't get an update on basically support, because the support team is doing amazing at this point in time, I can finally go back to my favorite segment and basically tell you that we are growing and we keep on growing. So yeah, we've been knowing a little bit of growth in recent months, as we are basically also we're tackling the issues on our support team. We still grow quite a bit. And I think you can move over to the next slide. And actually, we wanted to have Sam, a director of engineering, who just showed up right now. So he has no clue what he's about to say. I wanted him to introduce basically 3 engineers that have been joining us recently because he's been managing the recruiting. So Sam, how would you like to recruit them? I've been briefing them as a particular way, Sam. So, up to you.
Yeah, I'll throw a spanner in the works, I guess. So we've been, from an engineering point of view, we've been kind of really focused the past couple of weeks on recruitment. And it's starting to come to fruition now, which is really nice to see. So based on this slide in front of me, this is the first time I've seen this slide. So we'll kick things off with Daniel. So I think we heard from Daniel in Jamaica from our live presentation in Jamaica.
And I don't think Daniel made it to this tunnel actually, because of the state of organization and affairs, as you can imagine in the audience. So yeah, Daniel is joining a software engineering team for Direct in particular, and we're gonna update on his work later.
So I think, like I said, Daniel kind of said his hellos, but and as this slide kind of points out, I think there's definitely something in the water in the Netherlands, because everyone right now is joining us, from there. So I'll let kind of Aaron introduce himself first, then, given Daniel's not here. But Aaron, who are you? How are you? And what are you doing at Hospitable?
And you're muted, Aaron.
Well,
you don't have a mic set up.
Not muted. We just can't hear him.
We just can't hear you. That's amazing. This is the curse of introductions. Remember, we always have a technical issue, a technical glitch, because obviously it's not like we're rehearsing those things.
Well, at least I'm not going to be in charge of anything technical, right?
Yeah, no problem at all. It's just a very small product, nothing to do with payments of anything. So, I'm always insta reassured.
Exactly, no worries. Okay, so yeah, I'm Aaron. I live in Zwolle. It's a little city in the Netherlands, one of the greenest cities in the Netherlands, in the entire Europe, actually. Yeah, joined the team almost 2 weeks ago now. So everything is quite fresh still, but really looking forward to leading the engineering team for Direct. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far, and it's going to be a lot more fun in the future, I hope at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much, Aaron. And then following Aaron, so I think Aaron started a day later. I think I got this the right way around. A day later than Danny. Yeah, I'll let Danny introduce himself as well. So same for you. Who are you? How are you? And what are you doing at Hospitable?
Well, I'm Danny. I'm a software engineer. I'm from Leiden, which is I think an hour, a bit more away from Aaron. So we're basically almost we can almost work together side by side. But I'm going to be joining the core and connectivity team, mainly focused on smart locks and smart devices, at least for the start. That's where my background lies as well. So yeah, like Aaron said, joined about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, really had fun doing the onboarding, getting to know the product, and yeah, looking forward to the future and contributing to this cool product.
Incredible. Thank you kindly. Yeah, so yeah, as Aaron and Danny kind of both mentioned, just finishing up, coming to the end of we for engineering and for the company, we have a pretty intense kind of 2 weeks onboarding that everyone goes through just to get to know the product and the team and the company and how we work. So Aaron and Danny are just wrapping that up. They're coming towards the end of their second week. And then, yeah, next week we should be digging into some of the bigger stuff. So yeah, not only do we have those people who have started their journey with Hospitable, yeah, we've also we've got some other people on the roadmap as well. So Jarek has joined us. He is originally from Poland, now supposedly living in Singapore. I think he's in Vietnam at the moment, so it's a little bit late for him. He's not able to show his face. I think he's listening, but yeah, it's I think it's midnight where he is, so that's pretty late. So thank you for listening, Jarek. So Jarek's coming on board to be the engineering lead for Connect. So kind of same capacity as Aaron is for Direct, but working on our Connect product. So Jarek started this week. Yeah, he's going to have the same kind of 2 week onboarding, and once he's finished up that, kind of diving headfirst into Connect, which is awesome. And then kind of following that, we've got Eric. He's going to be working on the engineering team for Connect as well. He's going to be joining us on the 24th of July, so a couple of weeks off. And then followed quickly after that by Luke, who's joining us mid-August as an engineer for the core and connectivity team. So yeah, very, very excited to have a lot more engineers joining us, really opening up our resources and ability to ship cool stuff.
Thank you very much, Sam, and thank you for going through the effort of recruiting them. So that's 16 people joining us in a matter of days and weeks. Just adding, at one point, we're going to need to introduce you to Connect. That's our B2B industry-facing product that we would like to have. Ultimately, you should not know, if you're a customer of Hospitable, what it is about. But it's something that particularly, I believe, would help us grow the industry, especially when it comes to giving access to value-added services to property owners and people who would not usually would not need to find the value in getting property management software at that point in their short-term rental journey. And Luke will also, and I think he was going to be working a lot of things, but we also wanted to have another developer joining the current connectivity team to be helping us in developing more features around artificial intelligence and basically adding the capacity extra. Danny, you would be very happy to hear that Rosa is wishing you the best to get started. And obviously, we had quite a bit of an experience around smart locks. So we're very happy to have you on board. Danny used to work in intercom managed access management solutions. So he's made an on-data career on IoT and giving access to people through software with some code or something like that. So he's been working on both sides of the industry. So we're very excited to have him to dive into this nest. Thank you very much. And I think we can go over to the next slide and actually give the room to Vera, who also has some updates of her own.
Hi, everyone. Vera here from sales with some really exciting updates on our side. So from a team of 2, we're going to a team of 5 in August, which is amazing on 2 fronts. Obviously from our perspective, where we will be able to accelerate our revenue, but also why should you care probably is because we will have dedicated people for everyone that's joining Hospitable as a host. What does this mean? Essentially, we're going to help everyone on board. You're going to have a lot more in-person one-on-one experiences with us, from onboarding to answering, hey, is this possible with Hospitable? Can I do XYZ? Are we a fit? And essentially just to help you grow your business, accelerate it as fast as we can. And yeah, we're really excited about it, mainly from the perspective of actually being able to help our hosts way more, be there for them at the very start until the very end. That sounded a bit ominous, but I think everybody knows what I mean.
Yeah, but yeah, we have them get on board. And so that's a very, very exciting development. So we'll be able to get them started and basically have them grow over starting on Q4. I think that's where we'll be end of Q2 and starting of Q4, where everybody will be able to be on quota now. So thank you so very much, Vera, for that update. So counting numbers, we basically should be reaching close to 50 by the end of August, definitely considering our growth patterns, 50 by the end of September. With still basically a relatively healthy breakdown at this point in time. About half of the team is working on customer support this time, so 20 out of 40 today. And we'll be able to rebalance with that newfound capacity over on more products and sales roles, more product and engineering and sales roles. So that could be making everyone happy over time. Is our revenue allowing that to happen? That is basically the next slide, Miles. We've still been growing. So the chart that you see here is basically a quarterly chart of our revenue. So that's annual run rates. That basically is our monthly recurring revenue multiplied by 12. And sums up, we have experienced, I think, the highest growth outside of COVID for this quarter so far, just basically above 20% of growth in this last quarter alone, which is putting us on a nice track. We still would like to aim for 100% growth over the year 2023 with a combination of direct and also connect. And we just passed $6.7 million. So, it's, dumping those numbers, we are now quite in a step. I struggle to say established because, come on, I've started coding that after cleaning toilets for my guests and coding everything from my bedroom. But it's starting to get to a real business kind of territory. There is also, kind of the perspective in terms of valuation, and I would like to highlight. So you've obviously not been blind to news of the industry that have been raising at a 15 or 20x multiple. This basically would put Hospitable at this point in time around $100 million valuation. Now, obviously, this is only real if you have an investor that wants to evaluate the business at this value, and that actually would be willing to take their money. But I want to thank basically the customers and investors and sometimes also employees that so far have decided to invest into Hospitable at a reasonable and very, very, very defensible company valuation of just under $22 million, which allowed us to fundraise, to raise so far by customers, which is basically the best way to raise funding, close to $1 million, $918,000 at this point in time. I'm very happy. This number is expected to grow again. Another customer today from Cyprus has invested again a little bit of money into things. So, rather than letting the upside to third-party investors or to other companies in the industry, with Hospitable, what we would like to make differently is to give the upside also to our customers, first and foremost. Thank you very much. And I think now we can go back to the more interesting part of the segment, which is really, oh yes, sorry, Priscilla is actually asking a very good question, which reminds me how bad I am as a salesperson. And honestly, I should not be selling the tokens. But if you go to invest.hospitable.com, you can basically sign up. You can go to some KYC, and so basically you need to upload a selfie and all. You may be familiar with that, with what you're doing with Direct, Andrew. Your guests are familiar with that as well. If you're booking directly, just doing a bit background check. If you are a resident in the US, and that is very much going to be likely, you need to be an accredited investor to be able to invest into the company. But even if you're not yet an accredited investor, I would still ask you to please register how much you would like to invest, because it allows us to run a crowdfunding campaign once a threshold has been reached. So that basically would help us make that a lot more accessible whenever we have basically reached a threshold of $250,000 in addition. So please help us make a cap table a nightmare, and more importantly, to your benefit. So you can invest on invest.hospitable.com. Now, for more interesting updates on Direct, which you all know and love, Andrew.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I don't have too much to announce. Unfortunately, it's been kind of a quiet week. We've been onboarding the new team. But a few of the changes that went live since the last town hall, we have updated. So the screenshot you're getting there, we're now showing your total payout. That's a lot more useful than what we were showing. We were only showing, I think, the nightly rate. It was missing your pass-through taxes. It was missing any fees that you had, your cleaning fee, et cetera. So you're getting a much more useful number there. That's one thing. The next thing we're going to do is when you click on that details button, then from the inbox, we're also going to show you the total paid by guest and the guest service fee. That is data that you need to have. I think that will be done probably tomorrow or by the end of the week at the latest. We made a couple updates in how we were managing things based on your feedback, based on what we were seeing. We wanted to take a bit more prudent step with Instant Book. We were allowing you to kind of select other risk levels that you wanted to book instantly. We decided actually in practice that's a bad idea. So now it's green only. Everything else is going to be a request to book, and you're going to be able to take action on that after you've looked at the recommendations from AutoHost, and lots of AutoHost updates coming in the future, hopefully. And then the last one, I think we've talked about in a couple town halls, and you guys have been great on giving us feedback. I think we probably got it wrong before, and hopefully now we're right. Otherwise, there's not many other permutations of total before taxes that we can do. So what the experience looks like now on the property page, when they're generating the first quote, we're going to show total before taxes. That helps your guests when they're shopping around. They might be comparing on Airbnb, which is normally the position that Airbnb takes, total before taxes. The next screen, once they kind of get into what we call the booking flow, they start entering their personal information, we're then going to show them estimated taxes, which are generally a couple cents within the final tax calculation. The final calculation will come on the review and confirm screen before they submit the booking. That's a live calculation to our tax software. That's going to be the amount that we collect. So really just from the second screen of the booking flow, they're going to have all the information they need on taxes. Otherwise, the other updates that we're working on, promo codes. I was hoping to have these live for this. I'd love to get your feedback on some of this. The huddle we had today with the team is that percentage-based promo codes are really hard to do well. And the reason is it's hard to present the code to the guest in a way that they can actually do the math, check our math, make sure if you give them a 10% code, ideally, that's coming from like the nightly rates, but there's other fees already packaged in with the nightly rates, like a community fee, a management fee. And based on feedback we've gotten in previous town halls, you all want an option that's like a no fee direct booking channel. So if we continue to package more fees into the one line item, which is their accommodation fee, and we do a 10% coupon, does that 10% coupon get taken out of all the fees and all of the that you're charging on that? And I think that's not generally how the market works. So we're still trying to solve that. I think we're probably going to go live with a fixed fee promo code. So instead of a percentage, if you want to get $10, $25 off a booking of 3 nights or more, et cetera, there's a lot of restrictions that we're giving you the option of setting up with a coupon so you can control how those promo codes are used. But I think we're going to launch first with fixed price. But would love to hear from people in the Q&A session if you've got kind of strong feelings on how that should work. Again, we're headed towards no fee direct booking. So how does a 10% coupon look like to a guest? It's kind of a hard problem to solve. Would love to hear some feedback. Google Vacation Rentals is so close. We had a call with Google's team to review the implementation last week on Friday. We had a couple of different things that we had to adjust. I think those adjustments are finished maybe today, tomorrow. We're going to look at finishing the audit. Best case scenario, we're done with the audit at the end of next week. And once that's done, we can go live. So yeah, fingers crossed, best case scenario, we're live by the end of next week. Again, that's just for hospitable sites right now. We are still talking with Google about how to support custom sites. If you haven't been on the previous town halls, the issue with custom sites is we need to provide uptime reliability of your sites to Google. That's hard to do if we don't control your SSL certificates that make your site secure. If we can't control you changing the URLs on your sites, that's going to take us a bit more time. I think there might be a stopgap measure depending on what we're able to do, where you might want to have a hospitable site, which is great because it doesn't take you any time really to roll that out, in addition to your custom site, and use that hospitable site with Google Vacation Rentals so you can get started. This is a work in progress. We'll continue to update you as we go forward. Otherwise, yeah, Instant Book is going to come in the Direct Basic. We realize that's a bit more work than we thought it was because obviously without guest vetting that we do in Direct Premium, Direct Basic can go directly to book. And so we can actually change the front end experience for the users. We don't have to send them, your request was submitted successfully. We can go straight to you've booked. So we are going to do those, and we still are going to roll out Instant Book for Direct Basic, but it's a little bit more work, and we're kind of swamped with those first two things: promo codes, Google Vacation Rentals. They're taking up all of our team's resources at the moment. But we've also been doing some defensive work in the background, so hopefully you're going to see some other just kind of minor improvements as we go forward. And then the next items, we did move up adjustments, so ad hoc fees and refunds. That's something that we kind of realized based on host feedback is going to help solve a lot of kind of edge cases, other problems. So we've moved that up in priority ahead of quotes. Quotes will come after that, and then midterm stay improvement. So letting you have payment terms for people that book for more than 30 days. They don't have to pay all up front, making sure the taxes are optimized for a long-term stay, those kind of different features that are rolled in. That's the roadmap going forward. And I will pass to Emily to handle other product announcements.
Cool. Thanks, Andrew. All right. Hey, everybody. I will start with the usual smart lock updates. As many of you know, for the past several weeks, we've been in the process of migrating people from our old Schlage integration over to a new Schlage integration that we've built with a new integrating partner. So many of you guys have already migrated, but there are still some to go. So I'll give you a quick update on how you know when you can migrate and what to do. So a couple things. If you actually experience an issue with your Schlage smart lock generating a code, you're going to get an email that has that little yellow triangle and it says smart lock pin code creation failed. Open up that email, and at the bottom, there's actually an option for you to go ahead at that point when you're experiencing an issue and migrate over to the new integration, which will hopefully give you a much better experience. So that's one way you can migrate. Now, we're also going through a rolling migration where every couple of days, we're kind of ramping it up and giving the option to more and more of our customers. So right now, 20% of you guys have had the option to migrate, and you know you have the option because you see this nice pink banner when you're logged into Hospitable, or you receive an email and you just click take a tour and it's going to take you through that process. You're basically just going to be logging in again to your Schlage account, and all your properties will be matched with your locks. The codes will be migrated over, and everything will be good to go. During the process of that migration, we did pause briefly a couple of days ago when we identified an issue. We fixed that, and now the rollout is resumed. So we're being very conscientious about this migration and keeping a really, really close eye on everything. And if we do see issues, we do sometimes pause the migration to fix them before we move forward. So all in all, things are going well, and we're very excited to eventually have everybody moved over to the new Schlage integration. So now let's go over to the next screen. We'll talk a little bit about the property access panel. I teased this a little bit in the last town hall. It wasn't out yet, and shortly after we did release it. So a couple quick things I can touch on here. So for those of you who are on the old Schlage integration, you will not see this yet. When you migrate over to the new one, you will see this option, and anybody connected to any of our other smart lock integrations does have this ability. So basically within the conversation with a guest, you see this new property access panel that just gives a lot more transparency into what we're actually doing with your lock, with your code, the status of the code at that very moment. So one of the big differences between the old Schlage migration, the old Schlage integration and the new one, can never say that, is the point at which we actually put that code on the lock. They differ. So with the new integration, what you can expect is that when a reservation is created, we're going to go ahead and create the code. So we're going to know what the code is. We're going to know the numbers that it's going to be, but we're not actually going to put that code on the lock until 3 days before the check-in time, plus any buffer that you've set. So if you've kind of gotten into the routine of getting a reservation and immediately opening your Schlage app and looking for the code, that's going to be a habit you want to break because you're not going to find it if the check-in time isn't in the next 3 days. But you can rest assured that we've created it, and you can see that in the property access panel. And you can also see the dates when you can expect to see it visibly on the lock, and then the dates and times when it will actually be active on the lock. So yeah, we're excited about that property access panel to just give a lot more visibility and transparency into what's going on with your code and what you can expect next. So that is available to you now. Next slide. Okay. So what's up next for smart locks? We have been talking about Schlage for the longest time, and we're so excited to soon be able to talk about some other things because there are many other smart locks out there. So while this migration is still of our utmost priority, and it is still what we're dedicating most of our resources to, we have been afforded some time to start thinking about the future. So what we're going to focus on next is improving our backup code feature. So we have this feature out already for those of you who have enabled beta features. You can also enable backup codes. And I'll tell you a little bit about what that does. Basically, if you enable backup codes, what happens is when you connect a new smart lock, we're going to automatically provision 2 backup codes and make those active on the lock. And they're just going to live there and sit there for a rainy day. One day, if a guest is going to check in and we detect that, oh no, like we were supposed to provision a code and for some reason it didn't work, we may not know why, we'll have everything ready to go so that we can automatically share with your guest the backup code without you having any involvement. So that's what's really exciting about this. Like, kind of gone are the days when you're gonna like get that urgent message from your host saying like, I'm at your door and the code's not working. Like, we will have already detected that and shared the backup code with your guest directly so that they can get into your property without you needing to do much. The backup code, after it's shared with the guest, it's going to continue to live on the lock until they check out. Then we'll delete it forever, provision a new backup code, and again, save it for the next rainy day. So this is available in beta. We are going to make some improvements before we're ready to roll that out to the general audience. But if it's something you're looking at, or you're interested in and want to turn that on now, you're welcome to. Next, we have a SmartThings integration, which has been sitting in beta for a long time. So we're also going to revisit that and release that to our general audience as well. And then on to new smart lock options. Right now, we're looking at a Nuki and Igloo. We've had lots of requests for these two. The first step before we release these are going to be putting them into a private beta. So if there are any hosts on this town hall who use Nuki locks or Igloo locks and you're interested in being a part of this private beta, shoot us a message in the chat to the host and panelists, not to everybody, that just has your name and the email that you use for your Hospitable account, and we can contact you when we're ready to move that into private beta. And basically that will just look like you doing this integration for us. We'll monitor the account very closely, make sure everything is going well, and it'll give us an opportunity to kind of resolve any issues that might come up before we release it to everyone. So we are very excited to continue looking forward with smart locks and offering some other great things for you, especially with the addition of Danny on our team. So we now have more resources there. All right, we can move on, I think, to some more general fixes and improvements. First, I'll touch on channel connectivity. I'll talk a little bit about Vrbo and Booking.com. We've been giving pretty detailed updates on this in the past, so I'm not going to go too into detail here, but we are still ongoing with our Vrbo connectivity improvements. We have dedicated resources set aside to improving our Vrbo reservation sync. So a team is spending all of their time on this. What we've done so far is really improve our logging and we have a lot more insight now, a lot more information about what's happening when these failures happen. And we've identified several opportunities for improvement. So we're glad now to at least have a lot more information. Our next step is to actually execute on that. So starting later this week and moving on to the next several weeks, probably, we'll be working on making those actual improvements and releasing those to you guys so that you have a better experience with your Vrbo connection, specifically with hospitable syncing reservations to Vrbo and vice versa. Next up, Booking.com. So in the past, when we've talked about kind of our company's priorities, we've talked about Vrbo, we've talked about metrics, and we've talked about Booking.com. We've made a decision in the past couple of days to actually move Booking.com up in the priority. There have been several issues with messaging that have surfaced lately. Many of those are due to changes in the Booking.com API. So we're aware of those, and we are going to make a concerted effort to implement their new messaging API, which is going to really improve the experience all the way around. Namely, it's going to allow us to get rid of that special request contact situation that we have to do now. So we will get to that when the verbal connectivity improvements are made. We know what we need to do. We need to get certified by booking.com as a part of that process. So we've received all the materials and we know what we need to submit to them for that certification process. And we are ready to hit the ground running for that. So yes, that's something we're really aware of and we'll dedicate a lot of time to in the coming weeks. Next slide. Let's see. Oh yes, command bar. Okay. I almost talked about this last week and then I almost forgot to mention it this week. So command bar. So we have had this in Hospitable for a long time, but it's kind of hidden. So if you hit Command K or Control K if you're on Windows, this command bar pops up and it's a super speedy, super smart, really comprehensive search functionality. So many of you guys like use the search bar within Hospitable, and especially those of you who have a lot of properties, it can be pretty slow and pretty clunky and maybe not always work exactly how you want it to. So I want to make everybody aware of command bar because this is another way to search that eventually will make more visible and make more apparent within the product. But right now we're still kind of building on it. So the new thing in command bar as of a couple, I guess the past 2 weeks, is we're now able to search conversations by the phone number or by the reservation code. So this is cool if you're a host and you get like a text message in the middle of the night and you're like, who is this? And you can search, you can just pull those last 4 digits of the phone number or the phone number, Command K, type it in, and it will pull up the conversation that you have with that guest that matches the phone number. So that's just a really great way to find things within Hospitable a lot faster. Yeah, and there's a lot of cool actions you can take there. So play around with it. You can, shift, arrow, like do all this fun stuff to go directly to calendars, go directly to conversations, and all this great stuff. So please check out command bar. It's really cool. And then next, I will call out a new integration that we have with Charge Automation. So Charge Automation has recently built an integration with us. We are sharing reservation details with them, and then they create a reservation-specific link for your guest, which can contain guidebook, a bunch of other stuff. So many of you I know are using Charge Automation, so check out that integration, and you can go to their website to learn more. And we also have them in our apps page, which links to a help article, which can tell you a little bit more about how to configure that integration and what it is that they do. So speaking of apps, we are making a big effort to expand our integrations. So if you guys have any other integrations or any other tools that you're using in the industry to help you manage your business, let us know what they are in the chat, drop them in there, and we'll make sure that we reach out to them and see if an integration with them is possible so that we can better serve you. I think that's all I got. Miles.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Just stopping sharing there, and we can now move over to audience questions. So just a reminder, folks, if you'd like to come on stage, click reactions at the bottom and then raise hand. We have our first person here, Daniel, inviting you on stage to ask your question. Hello. Hello, Daniel. Daniel was waiting a while, so maybe Daniel has changed his mind.
I think you just need to unmute yourself. So that should be a button on the left. Yeah, bottom left of your Zoom window. Otherwise,
I think it's in there. We'll come back in a bit and try Daniel again. Moving on now instead to Peter, who has a question.
Peter has no problem unmuting himself. Hello, Peter. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Pierre. How about yourself?
Fine. How can we help you?
Good. Yes, sir. Good morning here in Tacoma to the Hospitable team. So really quickly, was really hoping that the quote would be moved up further on the timeline. Just a comment there. And then with AutoHost, you all kind of took a step back and you're only instant booking green light, right? My challenge with AutoHost, and help me understand maybe how it works better. So again, I have some corporate customers that book regularly, especially during this high season, this summer here. So it's really a pain for them to have to go through that verification every time. So this is where, the quote would come in extremely handy. I think we would actually skip AutoHost, right? If we were able to just send a direct quote. So for instance,
I don't think we can let you do that.
No?
Do you want me to jump in?
1 second. So
Okay.
I just want to make sure I'm communicating fully my concerns. So, I have a particular corporate customer that has drivers that comes up every spring, every summer. And, I've been working, this is my second summer working with her. I have no qualms about admitting any of her drivers, right? Not going to have any issues. So for her to go through she books for them. So for her to have to go through, she's like the regional trainer in the area. For her to have to get verified each time is just like a headache for her. So it's kind of, it's counterproductive, counterintuitive for us.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I think that does go away eventually in a smart way. So, I think we've talked about before several town halls back that ideally it should be more of a registration process more than a booking process to go through AutoHost. We do need to verify you as an individual. I think that will transition into you now being able to book at any hospitable stay. It has to be smart because you might travel for two different purposes and be the same individual, right? So sometimes I travel on business, sometimes I travel for pleasure. I have a different risk profile when I travel for each. So we have to be a little bit smart about when we ask you to re-verify. But that's definitely on the radar. I think you probably have a much higher frequency use case than we generally see. So I understand that it's a priority for you. But it needs to be there for us too, because you're not the only one taking risk on that reservation. You were here last town hall. We talked about getting our first chargeback. A lot of the reason we're using AutoHost is we need to protect ourselves, meaning Hospitable, against chargebacks because we're protecting you against chargebacks. And so we're going to eat any chargeback we lose if it's due to fraud or anything like that. So we have to have that there. That's us too, not just you. So it's not going to go away. It's not going to be required all the time for recurring visits. I totally get your use case. We will do something on that. And then on the quotes, I do reserve the right to adjust priorities as we interpret new data. And I think it gives you a lot of the same things that quotes gives you to be able to adjust as needed refunds and fees. But we were seeing some pretty behaviors to us that were kind of troubling, with people not having any ability to just do a post hoc adjustment of a booking. And so for that reason, I think it solves more use cases than quotes does, even though I think quotes is a beautiful feature and we will absolutely do it. And at some point, it will also maybe have some impact on how we use AutoHost, but not today. Does that answer your question, Peter?
Very well. Very well. Thank you so much.
Cool. I appreciate you sharing that feedback.
To add on that, so and so one of the challenges and the question we'll have on the product side is really like AutoHost is important for us to protect us against chargebacks, and that can be supporting a registration type of functioning. But there is also the insurance, and basically they would require themselves that the guest is properly identified through AutoHost. And so if we're waiving something like that, that may create more problems along the way, I think, right, Andrew? Is that that can work?
It's a conversation we can have with the insurer. I don't think they require a guest vetting every single time. It could be something where we negotiate a certain duration or a certain, a region where you stay. And if you stay in a different region, okay, now that triggers another thing. That's what I mean by smart. We need to kind of make some logic that helps still protect us, but is also better experience for repeat guests. So understood, Peter. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Am I still live?
You are.
Thanks a lot.
So just to follow up. So a corporate client versus an individual, would the risk be lower or higher?
Yeah, I mean, from the product standpoint, we have to have a way of knowing if they're a corporate client or not, and we don't have anything like that right now. But that is something interesting to think about going forward. That's probably something, one of the data points we can take in when we try and make that system a bit smarter for you.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, because
thank you, Peter. I'm going to have to cut you off there. We have a bunch of people raising their hands as well to ask questions. Thank you very much. Appreciate your questions. Cheers.
All
right. So moving on now to Kellen. Inviting Kellen on stage. Hello.
In the meantime, we got a nice suggestion from Tyson, actually suggesting for Peter to use manual bookings And that can be a way to streamline and override a certain few of the normal flow of things. But that's, again, depending on Drew. Hello, Kellen. How can we help you? Sorry for that.
Hey, no, it's fine. I just wanted to ask a question because this is something that I run into. I have a lot of corporate clients as well, where they're coming in town maybe for 3 to 6 months, but they get paid per diem weekly. So if I ask them to book through the site, then I know one of the issues I'll run into is, okay, if it comes down to an extension, do I just need to do an extension for a week? Or is there anything that we can do that can block off the entire 3 months, but just give them the opportunity to pay weekly that'll capture taxes, nightly rates, and whatever insurances have to be in place?
Yeah, I mean, you've got a hack that I think you're suggesting for now, which is, you can keep making adjustments as you go. That is possible. This is what we mentioned when we talked about midterm stays, though, and that's, I think, ideally going to be the solution for you. We don't have that ready today, but that is going to look at that kind of situation where no one wants to pay for a 3-month booking up front, get charged $25,000 on their credit card. We understand. There's a lot of hosts, I think, that are in kind of similar situations to you. A lot of people doing 30-day plus bookings that want payment terms. So it's like the top 3 on our roadmap of next items up. So does that solve your use case then? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I appreciate it.
Cool. No, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kellen. So now we have Sean, inviting Sean on stage. Hello.
Hello, you all hear me?
Yes, we can. Hello.
Awesome. Hey, so let me apologize if any of this have been answered or what have you. Just jumping on here, but I had a couple issues jump up in regards to clients booking through the operating system. And first and foremost is the risk assessment score. One of the issues that I have that comes up a couple times now is that our clients, where our STR is located, live within a 250-mile range. In fact, almost 99% of our clients do. So that pops up quite frequently, and I'm not sure if it is putting a hold on the ability of me to book. That's one of the couple questions I have. As well, I have ran into an issue that is still trying to get worked out as far as adding a day to basically altering a reservation for a client in which we came upon agreed upon price during this reservation. And when going through the process, the price kept fluctuating. I'm not able to alter that booking price manually midstream. So basically, even before that, multiple times trying to book when at a reasonable price. We agreed upon, just an example, $150 for an extra night. I went through the process of altering the reservation, selected a date. The system put it up as $148. I thought that was fine. Clicked OK, go through, and it kept kicking it back. It wasn't accepting that reservation. And so I have yet to figure out why. And I have one more question after that. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Let me take the first 2 in reverse order. I'm sorry about the alteration. That was a bit of a learning experience for us. We had the wrong payment model for the payment processor when we took authorization of the initial payment. And so for a good bit there, we weren't able to have authorization to recharge the customer's card on file. That has been fixed now, but existing reservations for direct premium, if you try to alter them, we're not able to capture any additional payment. So the workaround that we're suggesting is do the alteration, and to do the alteration, you need to make it a net zero charge. So we're not we can still refund. So, make sure it's net zero. We can do that for you. If you like, I can jump in intercom after this and have a look and help you alter that on your calendar. So you get the reservation dates correct. I cannot help you, unfortunately, collect the additional payment. That's something that you'd probably have to take off platform, or in the worst case, if you prefer, you could ask the guest to rebook that night, but that's not a great UX either. Right. Does that make sense to you?
It does. And actually, that's what I ended up doing. I ended up blocking off that date and taking payment off platform, which is a little frustrating.
I know. I know. It's fixed now. So, the good news is it's fixed now.
Okay. Well, this was only 2 days ago, but anyhow,
yeah. As of today.
Okay, as of today, sweet. Okay,
Yes.
Last bit, and I'm not hammering you guys. I know you guys are working hard and what have you. It's the first time I had that issue. It took 19 hours for me to get anyone in regards to addressing this issue, and they told that they were look into it. Hadn't heard back until 4:00 this morning Central Time in the United States. I don't know how many hours that was since then, but well over 12. So, the time it takes for me to get help on some of these issues that are pertinent and what have you, may be the time that I'm actually losing a booking because someone either becomes frustrated with the whole situation or, just says, forget it.
Okay. Yeah, you've been heard. We're making improvements there. I think especially with, we do have a dedicated team now for direct. That's still kind of an onboarding process, but we're getting better. So I do appreciate that, especially with direct bookings. There is a very time sensitive element to it. We're going to try and do better, but yeah, I'm sorry you had a bad experience there. And then going back to your first question, when we still have time, regarding AutoHost, the 250 miles or whatever, that's one parameter that they look at. It doesn't mean that we're going to block the booking. Hospitable would only block the booking if it's like a block list or a clear credit card fraud. Mostly we're going to let you make the decision in the end. And that's going to be one thing you see, and you can decide whether that parameter is valid or valuable for you or not in your decision making when you agree to accept that.
Gotcha. All right, Andrew. Well, I appreciate it. And listen, y'all need help, holler at a brother. I already put a resume in. I'll sit in front of the computer retired all day long. I got you covered. Just sign me up, coach.
Can you work on the support team?
100%. Let's go.
All right.
I do this all day long. All right.
I appreciate your feedback. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sean. Great. So next up, we have Doug. Doug, inviting you on stage now. Hello.
Hey, good afternoon here on the East Coast of the United States. I'm a fairly new user, only about 2 weeks in. And first of all, just want to, praise the product. I left a competitor, starts with a G, ends with a Y, as you can guess, and was up and running on Hospitable within a layover at an airport. So phenomenal product. My only question I have so far is every time I ask about updates on the metrics component, and it sounds like there's maybe a dashboard coming rather than downloading CSV files. Do we have any month that may be happening? That is one thing that I am missing. And I think, as any business owner, we need to know our numbers really well. That helps us make our decisions and run our strategy. And as you know, the capturing numbers for properties, whether it be average daily rate, occupancy, et cetera, is challenging to say the least, the way it's set up under metrics. So I think in short, just looking for maybe a more concrete update on the metrics section.
Yeah. Hey, Doug. This probably isn't the answer you're looking for, but I will be transparent about it. So our priority as a product team recently shifted because we moved the booking.com issues ahead of metrics. So right now our top 3 priorities as they exist today, which they can change, are the Vrbo connectivity stuff, the booking.com connectivity stuff, and then metrics. So it's high on the list, but we're really, really focused on getting these connection issues out of the way because that's what powers our entire platform, right? It's really important. So yeah, I can't give you a month on a town hall. I really wish I could. I think we all wish we could just have a date for it. But we're hopeful that it is coming soon and do have plans to start it soon. With all the new engineers that have joined our team, our resources are about to be a little bit more freed up. And that's been a lot of what has caused us to kick some things down the line. So as you saw earlier, adding all those new teammates once they get onboarded and we kind of reconfigure some of the teams, we'll have a lot more ability to focus on some of the defensive items, which is like the Vrbo and booking.com things, the connection stuff, and also dedicate resources at the same time to some of these new features being the metrics. So yeah, I wish I could give you a month. It looks like PC wants to add something.
Yeah, I want to add something because it feels like we're throwing metrics under the bus. No, it's not. Currently, this is basically not in competition. It basically helps us deliver reliable, healthy metrics, because what would be worse than a metrics product is actually a metrics product that works, but basically all the numbers are wrong. And so all the things that we're doing around, for example, improving on variable connectivity, that's also about getting those numbers reliably in there and making sure that we understand them. For all reservations that we have, and for as many customers as we can. So typically, every customer that has a PMS, obviously your reporting will live on a PMS. You can still use us for messaging, but that's totally fine by us. But if you want us to be the PMS, then we need to provide you with those reliable numbers. So as we gain into reliability over those integrations, we're going to be simply increasing our chances of giving you a better reporting product at all. And then displaying that on a nice UI. Alisa is a senior product manager that's particularly looking into that. We already have designs, we have implementations. We're not basically like twisting our thumbs on this. We're just waiting to have an appropriate amount of capacity in front end and back end to be able to make that happen. But let me be clear, with more salespeople, we know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be more feature requests for the same thing, and that's totally okay. To be able to hear that feedback, we just want to have it fast and right. And if we can solve customers' problems around messaging, on Verbo and booking and getting reliable numbers, that's the best way I think we can make it happen. Sorry, Doug, for a little bit of a word salad, but I didn't want Emily to be thrown under the bus. There is another two things, and I think that's the right one.
Perfect.
I appreciate it,
Pierre. There you go.
Thank
you, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. Have a great rest of your day. See you next time all for an update on metrics. Ask the same question.
Great. We have 8 minutes left and 2 people with their hands raised. So Jimmy, you are next up. Hello, Jimmy. Spoke to you soon.
Hello, Jimmy.
Hello, Jimmy.
I think you need to unmute yourself. Perfect, Jimmy. How are you doing?
Hey, guys. Hey, doing great. How are you guys?
Doing fine. How about you?
Thanks for all the updated information. Super excited. Couple questions for you. My wife and I, we pretty much run our business with our own listings, and we're usually on the go. Some of the problems that we're having is when we're using the app, she kind of gets frustrated with the app and prefers to utilize the communications with Airbnb, mainly because it seems like she's always get logged out. If there's a way, and it happens to me as well. So like, meaning like we have to re-log ourselves back in. If there's a feature where you guys can use scan our face, or easier to log back in or remember a login code. So it just makes it easier. So sometimes like we have kids and we're just always on the go, and we both have jobs as well. Is that something you?
No, that you're not alone, Jimmy. Jimmy, on this. That's also some feedback that we've heard, and I think again that basically mobile has been something that I think we were notoriously late compared with other alternatives on getting a mobile app. And as you can see right now, it's a wrapper on the existing web application. To have features that you would request that we are very, very, very interested in, like having Face ID or Touch ID to allow you to log back in. Those are features that would require quite a bit more work on engineering, and we hope to be able to make it happen. Unfortunately, the developer that basically could have implemented those features also moved towards direct on improving the website and improving all the experience on that front. So that's something that has to be delayed. I think we would love to explore that as soon as we have a bit of a window of opportunity for it. But at this point in time, it's not something that currently is on the roadmap. It's basically more of a project. We did release a project that basically we like to have with the developer working almost on a 20% off a roadmap. We also have been a bit traumatized by the recent improvement that the last time we tried to make an improvement of a mobile. Where we did a native application that didn't have the calendar, and we released that because of our little discussion with Apple. And if we know perfectly well that if we are going to be releasing a mobile application, we have to do it like full featured in a native kind of design to be able to leverage those features and make it make sense. So sorry, I don't have an update for you at this point in time for mobile. I know it's basically very painful for the front-end team to basically be hearing that, and they just, yeah, same. It's a prioritization exercise for everyone.
Okay. And then the second question is, are you guys gonna start?
Sorry, Jimmy. I think your connection is dropping down. Okay, so can you try saying this again? Your connection is a bit dropping right now. I don't know. Maybe you're moving.
Yeah, sorry about that. Moving. My question is that are you guys gonna integrate having a call team where someone like myself can contact you guys if I'm having some issues with my page or program?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question. You're asking if we can integrate with something in particular?
I'm sorry. What I mean is, like if I'm having trouble doing something on my end and I can't find it on the videos and I'm asking like the team on the online, is there a contact us or someone I can call and talk to personally?
Yeah, hi Jimmy. I can take this real quick. I'm actually one of the people on our support team, so we're here. We're available for you. On the bottom right of your account, you'll see a chat icon. You can chat us from there. We're still, building up our team even more, but our goal is to respond to you that day, within an hour, if not even sooner, and we'll get you all set there. So, yep, at any point you can just chat us.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. And thank you, Jen, for jumping in there. So we're just going to squeeze in one last speaker. Juan, you've been waiting a while, so feel free to come on stage and ask your question. Hello.
Hi, Miles. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
First of all, I'm going to make it quick because I know we don't have a lot of time. I don't want to hold you guys. I love the product. We're a company based in Panama. We have about a dozen properties. And as you already figured out, direct booking, it's our main priority because how it affects us from a financial point of view. And one of the things that drives me crazy is that I cannot sort the pictures on our direct booking site. Maybe it's just me, but maybe there is a possibility to do it and I'm not finding it. But instead of showing like a beautiful backyard with a pool, we're showing like a bathroom, right? It's a nice bathroom, but I don't want that to be my main picture for somebody to click in and book that place. Is there any way that can be included in the roadmap to be able to do that, to sort the pictures on the direct booking site?
Yes. Yeah, we have a bundle of site improvement projects. I think we're going to kind of just be adding a few of them every week as we move forward. And definitely that has been flagged by other users. You want to be able to control your pictures. You want to be able to control the sorting of your properties on the multi-property page. Those things are all, not really heavy lifts on our side. So yeah, we will be looking at that.
And I don't want you to put you on the spot, but any ETA on that, like, and I know it may not be defined, but next 6 months, next year, next 2 years, is like any idea on when that's going to be working?
If you don't want to put me on the spot, Juan, I would be very disappointed if it's not done in this quarter.
Awesome. Excellent.
And also, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you can reorder your photos currently. We might have a bug that when you reorder them, they're kind of resorting again to whatever we got from Airbnb. But Juan, just try this just in case. If you go to your properties, click on that property, go to details, under the photos, you click edit and reorder the order that they're in so that the first photo is not a bathroom.
Okay, I'll try that. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Juan. So that is all we have time for today. Pierre, I don't know if you want to mention anything else to wrap things up.
No, I think we're good. Thank you very much, everyone, for the questions and for their feedback. We can take that into account. Turns out that even though we are hiring 6 engineers, we need to hire 17 more, which is basically how those goals go. And as we want to increase the scope of the product, there is always tension between new features and what we call, and said multiple times, defensive features. So yeah, Andrew is working on promo codes and Google vacation tools also. Because those are very popular requests to the level of causing riots on social media, and Emily also has to tackle smart locks and other improvements with connectivity to be able to build us a stronger product. But ultimately, every time that we basically go on a round or go on a bit of a sprint, that's me going on a sprint to fix the issues, the bugs, and problems, basically resulting in a better experience that results in a net positive for everyone. And that results in a very amazing positivity that for the business as well, is that we see a much better conversion rate compared with onboarding new features. And that's kind of the reality of SaaS, that probably, as a customer, you don't need to know anything about it. Releasing new features is always a trap. It takes a year for people to adopt it. We have customers here that wonder if we're integrating with Stripe or if we can process payments for direct booking, even though we spent a lot of effort communicating around it. But ultimately, the things that change your experience is a calendar that works, that loads fast, an inbox that loads fast, and being able to find, a feedback from a customer that was not stressed. Like, I want to check, in my previous messages, you didn't mention the toilet because I remember that someone peed on the wrong side of the toilet or something like that, and just basically flagging those. And so those are the things that actually find a lot more usage and adoption into the product. So it's always hard part of finding the right balance between one and the other. So thank you very much for hearing us. We're very glad to be hearing you. See you in 2 weeks. No vacations for the tunnel. Yeah, see you. Thank you very much. If you have any issue, we are very proud to now have a support team that can respond to you a lot faster than we used to be. So the average response time is now below an hour. So if we would really encourage you to contact with us on live chat on any page right now. If you have any questions that were not addressed during this tunnel. Thank you so very much. Have a great rest of your day from Belgium, Florence, Georgia, and Toronto. Bye-bye.